We are in the middle of our Chabad Lifeline campaign, crowdfunding campaign to help those with addiction and mental health issues, and especially the youth. Is our current project that we're engaged and involved in. Yes, all of us can make it. We all make a difference. And we can all make a difference. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya, as we share together with Michael in Germany and Rabbi in Morocco. Cindy is closer at home here at Florida. Rusty in Texas. Terrence, TJ, is all the way in Melbourne, Australia, where it's pretty late. Zara's in Malaysia. It's also evening there. John in North Carolina. Oh, skipping, jumping over here. John, North Carolina, yes. Andrea is in Phoenix. Amy in Colorado. Eugenia in Calgary. Boker Tov to all of you. Claire in Brisbane. Time to go to sleep soon. In Australia. Stan, good afternoon in London, England. Liba and Davida joining us in New York. Rena is in Colorado. Roxy in New Jersey. Good morning. Louise in Australia. Oh. Who else is here? Loredana in Calgary. Sherry's, you have to remind. Oh, you're in Israel, right? Yeah. Francesca in Italy is joining us. Denise in New Jersey. Tim in Texas. Leia in Florida. Thank God, everybody. We have Wilson, Vilma, Michael, and Charles. That's on Clubhousers. We have Natalie in Brazil. Rachel in South Carolina. Hamid in Montreal. Bella. Bella, you have to remind me where. New Jersey, Bella. Not Bella. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alice in Baltimore. Yenta Telebenta. Julia is with us. Irma. Oh, welcome back, Irma, in the UK. Julia in Pennsylvania. June in Australia. Dana is in Washington State. Beautiful. Okay. At one point, people only understood that God is infinite. Not that we understand what that means. It just means without limitations. And this world is very much a finite world. And how do you come from an infinite God to a finite world? Well, God is Kol Yochel. He's omnipotent, so he can do anything. But of course, that doesn't help us to understand how God does everything. Excuse me. And why is it important to understand how God does something? And how God creates the world? Why is that important? Because otherwise we would only have faith in God. God's infinite. He can do whatever he wants. And he creates a world that's finite, limited. And we don't understand anything about it. About the process of creation. And hence we don't understand God in his engagement in that process. And we know very little about him, except that God's God and we have faith in him. But in a relationship, just to have faith is not sufficient. To own the relationship, you need to understand the other and appreciate them. Because then you could really provide for them what they need. If it's on faith, then first of all, you don't know them, and therefore you don't know what they really need or about them. Secondly, you don't own it. Faith is something beyond you. When you know something, it's a part of you. It's in your head. It's in your perspective. So when we can know God within creation, right, the more we can know him, the more we own the relationship, the deeper the relationship is. So God therefore provided us a way that we could know him more. Right? Ultimately, yes, it's faith, it's beyond us, but that we could. So how do we get from an infinite God to a finite world? Came the Arizal in the 1500s, and he revealed a concept that was hitherto hidden. The concept was there, but it was hidden. And it's called the concept of tzimtzum, contraction. That God contracted upon his infinite being to allow finitude to exist, to be, right? This is the concept of tzimtzum. So as the Arizal explains, that the world was filled with the infinite of the world. I mean, everything was filled with the infinite of God. That's all there was. Just him. And therefore, Silik, he removed, or he put aside, to allow a ka'ab, a line of finitude, to come, and from that line is the source of all the finitude of creation. And here the Alter Rebbe says, we come to explain, based on what we've learned previously, a mistake that many great scholars make about the concept of tzimtzum, the concept of contraction, this doctrine of the Arizal, who brought us a deeper understanding of how you get from an infinite God to a finite world. Not just on faith, but understanding, to the best of our capability, of the process. So this doctrine of tzimtzum, meaning that the Ein Sof light of God was siluk, departed. What does it mean, departed? So here, many understood, or many mistakenly understand, it means God departed and now made space for a finite and ultimately a physical world. But that's a misunderstanding. It's not a literal departure. It's a figurative departure. So this is the terms that are used, tzimtzum kipshutai. Do you take the tzimtzum, the doctrine of tzimtzum, literally, or shaloi kipshutai, but not literally? The Alter Rebbe is saying that it's not to be taken literally. God did not remove himself. The essence of God, God forbid, is not removed from the world. It just means he hid himself. He concealed himself. Before God created the world, there was just him. There's no concealment on him. Now that he creates a finite world from an infinite God and contracts upon himself in order to do that, what does it mean he contracts himself? Not removed himself, but hides himself, conceals himself. Right. Now, those who learn the idea that God removed himself, they still believe God's in control, right, of individual divine providence over all of creation. But he's sort of like beyond, like, gazing and controlling from beyond. Alter Rebbe says that's a big mistake to say that. Again, we're not talking about those who are non-believers. We're talking about believers who have a mistaken notion in these teachings of the Arizal. So the first point that the Alter Rebbe says to explain why it's wrong to understand Simsim Kipshutai, that God literally departed, right? Why you can't say that is because that would give some corporeality to God. Remove means you're in one place and now you're going to another place, right? You can't say that about God. God forbid. So there's no corporeality to him, right? I'm in this room right now in my office. I can remove myself from here. I will at one point, right? I remove myself. I'm not here anymore when I remove myself. Well, because I'm physical, so I can only be here or in the next room, or in the next room or here. But I can't be both at the same time because of the limitations of the corporal being. You can't say that by God. Secondly, says the Alter Rebbe, that we're all believers, the sons of believers, that God knows everything that goes on in creation. So those who speak about God, I mean, Tzimtzum Kipshute, that contraction is to be taken literally, that God departs, they also believe that God is aware of everything. His providence extends over all of the physical world, right? And also believe that his knowledge doesn't add a plurality to him. Now, there's nothing new to him that he knows, because he knows all of the knowing, because he knows himself. As we went at great length in the previous class to explain, according to Maimonides or Rambam's teachings. Therefore, God, his essence, being, and his knowledge are all one. And why does he know? Because he's knowing himself, not something outside of him. They believe that. So another argument. Furthermore, the Zohar tells us that there's no place devoid of God. Upper worlds, lower worlds, whatever kind, the spiritual world, physical world, there's no place devoid of God. So we can't say he removed himself. He hid himself. Upper worlds, he's not as hidden. This lower world, he's more hidden. Right? Further, it says the Zohar that he grasps all and none can grasp him. He encompasses all worlds and no one can go out of his domain, because he fills all of the worlds and everything is bound up with him. The words of the Zohar. Why can't we grasp him? It's because he's hidden. He's beyond. He's even hidden from the spiritual worlds. So what that means he is permeated from in all of the worlds, but yet hidden at the same time. Furthermore, we say he's permeated. He's not permeated like a soul permeates the body to give it life, because the soul is affected by the things that happen to the body. The body is cold, the soul feels it. Body's hot, it feels it. Body has a pain, the soul has that pain. It's affected. So we can't say that even though God is permeating the world, that he's affected by the world. Nothing can affect him. No darkness darkens him. Nothing can obscure him. Where does such a mistake come from? That they think that God would remove himself. He's in control ultimately. He removes himself. The mistaken notion is, by way of metaphor, a CEO of a corporation, he doesn't clean the toilets. He doesn't. He removes himself from that duty, amongst many other duties that he removes himself, right? It's beneath him to clean the toilets. CEO of a corporation. God, it's beneath him, this physical world that's so removed. So is he in control? Absolutely. CEO's in control of the corporation, right? God's even more control than the CEO. But God's CEO of this major corporation called the world, the galaxies, everything. But his that's the mistaken notion. When we create God in our image, like a CEO of a corporation doesn't do toilets. Well, so likewise God, it's beneath him, this physical, low, removed world. So he removes himself. Is he in control? Absolutely in control. Can do whatever he wants. Absolutely. But that's a mistake. Why is that a mistake? It's because the high worlds, the low worlds before him are nothing. The high worlds can't grasp him. He's beyond. And therefore there's no distinction between high, this thing is more of my, my area of engagement. This low thing, no, that's not my area of engagement. Sitting with the VPs, yes. Sitting with the maintenance crew, no. Maintenance crew, VPs are the same before God. No distinction. So that is a mistaken notion. Where therefore they say that God is removed. So what the Arizal is giving us is a deeper understanding that we can use our minds to grasp better God's engagement and involvement in the creative process of the world, rather than just taking it by faith. All right. Any questions? By the way, just to draw a parallel from this, it's not enough in a relationship that you take on faith. You need to know the other person as best as you can, and then have faith. Oh, I see some questions. John, if this world would be said to epitomize self, do the angels also have a sense of self, or is it reduced in their respective worlds? They definitely have much more of a sense of their divine source than we do. Angels, more than we do. Absolutely correct, John. We have much stronger sense of self. As you go up the spiritual worlds, there's less a sense of self and more a sense of the divine source of everything. Yeah, absolutely. Moshe has a question. When the soul feels the vessel's pain, the body's pain, vessel's pain, okay, is that not then the opportunity, invitation to explore and embrace the connection to Hashem? Yes, absolutely correct. I was using that, or the Alter Rebbe uses that as a metaphor to understand God's engagement in the world. As we've mentioned a few times already, that we may make a mistaken notion that God is the vitality of the world in the manner that the soul is the vitality of the body. And one of the problems there is that the soul is limited by the body, meaning it experiences the body. So it experiences pain as the body experiences pain, meaning there's a change to the soul. By God, we can't say that. Yeah, so that was the point in using that metaphor. But like you said, the fact that the soul feels the pain, and not merely the body, is that in order for the soul to take a lesson and be able then to be empathetic and feel someone else's pain. The body can't feel someone else's pain. The body can only feel itself. The soul can feel otherness. So when the soul feels that pain, right, or that part of the soul that, because the truth is it's a body and a soul that's feeling at the same time. How do you make the distinction? The body can only feel itself. So when you're only feeling yourself, it's limited in the soulful experience. When the pain that this body is feeling, the soul feels, it will then be able to translate it into something meaningful beyond being self-directed. I hope that helps, Moshe. Good question. Thank you. Francesca has a question. What is the thought about us since our thoughts are not alike? What is his thought about us since our thoughts are not alike? What is his thoughts about us? First of all, through his thoughts, we are. And furthermore, what does he think? Just like thinking is an expression of myself to myself, so God's thoughts are an expression of his core essence to himself. And to himself, the divine soul is dear. So it's more than just a good thought. It's more than just a good thought. It's like an essential being that comes from there, connected to thought. Okay? All right, folks. Rambam coming up right now. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zech and Kadesh, my child. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with the Tanya. We continue with our charity campaign, charity.com/lifeline, for the lifeline that we give to our youth that are in trouble with mental health issues that are around addiction, family addiction. And our campaign is ending this evening. Everybody is welcome to be a partner in the amazing stuff that's done. Thank you, and have an amazing, great day. God bless you all.